Hello everybody, Aiden here from Liquid Studio with another video for you. Today we're going to take a look at what you need to prepare for a gig. It happens to all of us. We get down to a gig and inevitably something fails, something goes wrong, and it impacts the gig negatively. We've been through situations where just about everything has happened to us throughout the years. So, in today's video, we're going to show what we take with us and how, from what we take with us, it'll put us in a position where even if something does go wrong, we'll still be able to handle it and it won't impact the show. Alright, we're going to start with what we bring in our gig bag. These I have the same loaded up in all my gig bags and cases. The same kit if you would. I always bring picks that I'll need, an extra strap, strings, and a guitar tool. This guitar tool is perfect for if you have to change your strings, adjust anything on your guitar. It has all the standard Allen keys, sizes you'll need. It also has the screwdrivers, and it's clippers for if you break a string. It can easily be replaced. Next is what I bring everything else in. As you notice, I load everything in a fairly heavy-duty toolbox. This thing is strong enough I could easily use it as a stool or stand if there was something I had to hang. If I had to hang a banner or something, no problem. I can step up on this and hang banners, use it. If I had to get up a mic up high for an overhead or something like that I can't reach, I can easily stand on this and get to it. I'll usually always keep this too in behind my amp so it's easily accessible. Just in case anything does go wrong, I know where everything is and I can easily get to it. So we'll start just on the top. First thing is a flashlight. On dark stages, it's going to be tough for you if you have to check cables or if you have to check something on your pedal board or in behind your amp. It's usually really dark, so a flashlight is a complete lifesaver. If you have to get at something, you just flip it on. You can easily see exactly where you're going and what you need to get at. Also, next is business cards. You can get these printed up. I just use Vistaprint. Very reasonable, but they're always, you should always have these with your contact information, just so when you're out at gigs, you can easily network with people. You can have these in your wall, just pass them out to people. Always a good idea between sets or after your show, talk to anybody around, try to network as much as you can. Just these will make you look a lot more prepared and a lot more professional. Also, I bring a pen and a marker, just in case I need to write down any other information. I can easily write it on the back of a card. Marker's great for that, or for if I had to mark anything else. I always carry tape, and I can write on the tape as well with the marker. Again, you never know. At a show, when you have to bring out your own cables or something, it's very easy to use a marker just to identify your own stuff. Next is a drum key. Now, this is a little more for, this is my bass rig, but if everybody in the band can have a kit set up and duplicates of stuff is never a bad thing. Always a good idea to have one of these easily accessible, just in case the drummer forgets his, misplaces it, or something and it's gone. I always know I have a backup here in case he needs one. Just in case too, you're sharing hardware too, this comes in very handy. Next is a pair of scissors. There's been many times on gigs a pair of scissors or a knife comes in very handy. If there's a lot of times, again, if you're hanging a banner or something using zip ties, these are very nice for afterwards for taking down. You can just snip these off and away you go. These have came in very handy on numerous occasions. Next is a bit of a first aid repair kit, almost, so to speak. Single-use small bottles of crazy glue. These are great as a guitarist If you're ever, especially if you're constructing a stage and you're putting that together, and especially if it's made out of particle board or wood or something, and you're constructing it, deconstructing it, you can easily get splinters or cut yourself or anything like that. It can be very difficult to play guitar right afterwards. This is a very quick fix. You can just put a little drop of crazy glue in the wound, and I'm sure this medically is not advised, but this is just a backup just in case something ever happens. And this is an old trick I learned from an old timer years and years ago. But yeah, it works great. And I also carry a pair of tweezers. Again, just in case you get a splinter or something from if you're putting together a stage or a drum riser or anything, these come in handy as well to have. So that's what I keep accessible at the top of my toolbox. Just in case I need to get access to anything, I know exactly where it is. Everything's laid out. It's easily accessible. It's fantastic. Now inside, first thing I have is a set list. If you are a gigging musician, I can't recommend enough to have a set list written out, taped to the floor for all the band members, just so that everybody knows who's on page. They know exactly what the songs are. You can also write in any of your notes as well for interactions you're going to have with the crowd, or breaks you're going to have, or anything else like that. You can write that as well. Notes for the band yourself right on your set list. It comes in very handy. Next is a backup pair of earplugs. Those I have a pair of custom molded, but I keep those as a backup just in case if my customs ever got lost or I forgot to bring them. Those I have backup in here ready to roll at all times. Next is electrical tape. You can use, I have different colored ones. Sometimes I'll bring those as well for if I ever have to use cables to mark cables. Nail polish as well works very well for marking your cables. If you ever are bringing your own cables, I can't recommend enough to mark them. There's been so many times where at the end of a gig, teardown, people confused, they don't know what's what. If you have everything of yours marked, it just makes things much easier and much smoother. Electrical tape is great as well, just in case if anything ever happens, or a frayed guitar cable or something, or you snag it and it cuts a bit of it, a bit of the rubber. You have this, you can do a quick little repair job. Next is a soldering iron, just a small little soldering iron. Again, just for, especially if you're on the road and somewhere that's not your hometown and you don't have access to all your gear. If a pot goes in your guitar or a cable goes or something, if you have this, you're very quickly and easily, you can repair it. I can't recommend enough as a musician learning how to solder and making cables, repairing your guitar. There's tons of videos on YouTube you can check out on tutorials and how-to videos. You can just throw this, I just throw this in my case, and if I happen to need it, it's there. If I don't, it's no big deal. It hardly takes up any space in the toolbox. Next, what I have here is just extra cables, just short leads for guitar pedals, essentially, or I have a wireless guitar system as well, and so some of these cables are for that here. But I have a bunch of extra small little patch cables, just in case, again, a cable's giving us problems or acting up. I can very easily and quickly patch in a new one at sound check and get it dealt with. Mark that cable so I know it's a bad one, and if I get a chance later, I can solder it or wait till I get home and solder it. Next is a power strip. I would recommend having, if you're using one of these, have two of these then. Have a backup, because it never fails. A band doesn't have one and needs one, or your guitarist forgets to bring his, or these come in very handy when you're connecting multiple amps and gear. You can pick these up on sale very reasonably. I think this one was got on sale for like $10 at Canadian Tire or something. If you're going to upgrade past this, what you want to look into is what they call voltage regulators, because You can go up to rack power conditioners, but you're not going to get a whole lot more protection than what you're going to get out of a power strip like this. It's not until you get to voltage regulators that you're going to get much more protection. But even this, just for running lines, comes in very handy. As well, too, if you're playing shows somewhere and they don't have power outlets, they don't have multiple power outlets by the stage, this is a great way to get juice to all of your gear. Next is a DI box. This is just a passive DI box. It's Radial makes this, but I have this just in case if anything ever happened to my bass amp. If my bass amp ever went down, or there was a problem, or if blew a fuse, I didn't have a replacement fuse or anything. If my bass amp got taken out, I could always go right after my pedals right into this and send this out XLR right to the front of the house, to the mixer. So then you can still play the show uninterrupted. If you're a guitarist, they do make boxes. I know Palmer make one. It's called the Pocket Amplifier, I believe. And it's a cab sim and amp sims. It has a few... it'd be something if you're a guitarist you want to look into to have as a backup for your amp, as opposed to having to bring a second backup amp. If you're a guitarist, I wouldn't recommend you go right into something like this after your pedals. I'd look into something that's a bit more of an amp or a cabinet sim as a guitarist. But for a bass, for clean DI tone, this works great. Like I said, if anything ever goes wrong with your amp, then you have this as a backup. Next is just an extension cord. This is, again, just, even if you don't plan on needing it because you have the power strip, it's always handy to have. Like I said, there's been multiple times where you show up to a gig and you don't have power outlets on both sides of the stage like you were expecting. Just a great way to be able to run some power or a line from one side of the stage to the other side of the stage. Last that I have in here are my guitar cables, my patch cables. I have 3 of them here. The reason is because I use 2 for my pedal board, 1 out to my pedal board and 1 to the amp. I always have a 3rd one in here. What I do with this is right when I set up, I set this on top of my amp right here. The reason why I set the extra one on top of my amp is if I have any issues or problems with one of these, I just unplug it and quickly change it out for this one. So it doesn't waste any time. It's very quick and easy and efficient to do. Or if my guitarist has a problem with one of his cables, I know there's one right here. I can quickly and easily give it to him. So it saves him digging around looking for a patch cable. So he can quickly get back on with the show. Well, this is what I bring to every gig, along with my instrument and my amplifier. If there's anything that you bring to your gigs that I missed, let me know in the comments section down below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Thanks everybody for checking out our video. If you enjoyed it,
please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell
to stay up to date on new videos that we release. You can also connect with us on social media, Twitter @LiquidStudio2 and Instagram @LiquidStudioProducers.
We host a live stream every Monday and Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch at twitch.tv/LiquidStudioProductions.
Come, hang out, talk, and create music with us. We post all the songs we create to SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/LiquidStudioProducers. We list the key and BPM of each song.
You can then download the songs, add your own vocals and instruments to create your very own songs, or just enjoy the music for yourself.
Also, if you're a content creator, you can use any of the songs we create as royalty-free music for your own video content.